Hello and welcome to the Film Lover's Guide to the Galaxy. I am Jared, joined as always by Joe and Johnny, and we are here tonight to talk about the movies. Tonight's discussion will be on live action Disney remakes. But first, Joe, what have you been watching, playing, and or consuming this week?
It's nothing new, but because there was the Friends reunion,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I now I didn't really like the Friends reunion. I get why they did it, but I'm a fan of Friends. I'm not afraid to admit it, I guess. And I just sort of watch Friends. Now I don't watch Friends actively, like what a lot of people would think.
Hmm.
I, have it on. Maybe I'll watch it while I eat or something, and then just sort of just do that. And then I obviously watched the movie Cruella, which we're going to be talking about today. And then I reviewed, I rewatched a couple live action movies for the sake of what I did, making sure that I remember them as correctly as I can. Rewatched Aladdin and Jungle Book.
Cool.
So, I mean, that's sort of what I did for the week, and other than that, just a pretty busy week. Just chilled a little bit, but pretty low
Nice.
key. Pretty low key. Yeah.
Johnny, what about you? What have you been getting into this week?
So this past week, my wife showed me a movie. It
Oh,
was
interesting. Okay.
so she's a big Bo Burnham fan. So she,
Is
I
it the
guess he
stand
had
up?
his new special Inside, where he kind of take a creative approach about it. Huh?
I always thought that
You're not
the
a Bo
stand up
Burnham
was going to
fan?
be really
I'm
good.
a fan, but like,
Bring her on. Bring her on.
They
Bring her
want
on.
to get on real quick right
Bring her
now.
on.
It's
Yeah,
not like
come
we're
on.
live in front of streaming
No,
people.
put Johnny. Don't edit this out. All right. Tell us about your opinion on Bo Burnham.
They want to know your. Oh, okay,
All right.
that's
What
cool.
is your opinion on Bo Burnham, given that you suggested it to Johnny?
I think he. Oh, my microphone.
No,
um.
we can hear you. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like. I don't consider him like a comedian. Like, I think what he does is like, it's like when people are like when they're like too smart. Like how like Childish Gambino is like has a really smart rapper and he has like kind of like rhymes that are like too smart and you're like, all right, I get it. You went to college. Like, it's kind of like that. So I think he's. I think
Would you liken him to a spoken word artist or
Like
over a
a
comedian?
yeah.
or
I think
like
what
a
he does is
narrator
more.
of some sorts.
Oh yeah, I think what he does is definitely more of like a performance art than like comedy. Like his last special, it's funny, but it's not. Like it's horribly sad, and I
Yeah, it
This
think
probably wasn't. It probably wasn't. From what I understand, I haven't watched it yet because boy, I don't really want to relate to all that shit he says. But yeah, from what I understand, it's pretty introspective and it's not really meant to be like a comedy.
yeah. No,
and
I think he deals with his like internal stuff with how I think a lot of people do, which is by like making jokes. But I think like not to get like deep or anything, but that doesn't get you anywhere. Like when you actually have like a genuine like problem and like you make jokes about it to like, oh haha, like I wanna die. Just quirky things. Like it's funny ish. It's funny. It's funny. But I think
I
it's
think I think most comedians are like that though.
yeah.
some
I
comedians
think
get dark, and
they're
it is
pretty
what it
broken.
is.
Like to be a comedian, to be a stand-up
You gotta be
comic, like
fucked up a little bit.
you got to
Yeah.
be a little bit broken inside. I don't know. At least from all the Mark Maron episodes I've listened to, that's a constant theme. But
Were you
yeah,
talking about the last special where he did mostly music? Is that what you're talking about?
uh,
For Bo? No,
Yeah,
Bo
for
has
Bo.
he has a. I mean, all of the ones that he does are music, which is why I
What's
think
the one
I.
with the Pringles? Like his Pringles fucking
Ooh, that's Make Happy.
yeah, whatever
That's
that one was, I really liked it. Like I know that it was like sad in a lot of ways. But his music was very good.
He has a new one called Inside, and it's basically
Okay.
what he did
Yeah.
during 2020.
I heard about it. Yeah, I heard about it. I just didn't watch it yet.
It's fucking it's really awesome because like I think already he was like creative, but like
Right.
it was literally just him and like his camera and lighting, and you can tell there's a part in the special where it stops being fun for him and it becomes like him just being like, I gotta get this shit done, and like you can just, I think it's unfortunately relatable. So I do like Bo Burnham. He's not like my ride or die, but
all right. Well, now that you said that, who is your ride or die?
Yeah,
comic?
who is your favorite comedian?
Oh, who is my favorite?
Give me that ride or die.
Hold on, I'm thinking.
Like, how do you feel about like Louis C.K. or Chris Rock, or even like Adam Sandler? Maybe.
So I grew up on like Adam Sandler.
Okay.
I literally watched Happy Gilmore again yesterday because that's probably like a great.
Sure.
It's a fun movie.
Back when we used to make good movies.
You were close.
Yeah,
you could have said great.
I don't know. I like Eliza Schlesinger. I think she's really funny because she like talks about like growing up and being like a former party girl and like growing up into a party woman, which I think is really like relatable.
Mm-hmm.
I never listened to Chris Rock. I didn't think
what.
I'm sorry. I didn't know he was a comedian until like
what?
to Rush Hour. I didn't know.
Wait. Rush Hour.
That's Chris Tucker.
That's Chris Tucker.
That's evil. Don't edit this out.
Racist.
Don't edit this out.
Racist.
No.
If I decided to live stream this today, the whole world, if they were on my Twitch, would have found out you missed Chris Tucker and Chris Rock together.
I'm really bad at names and my defense.
It'd be funnier if she thought it was Eddie Murphy, like the other way around.
No, I know who Eddie Murphy is, but I also didn't know that Eddie Murphy was a comedian. I thought he was just the guy.
What?
You know what? She's pretty young.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she grew up. She never knew Eddie Murphy on SNL or anything like that.
How old were you when Happy Gilmore came out?
Ooh, what year did Happy Gilmore come out?
I got you.
Like 95, probably.
You were like 1.
I was barely anything.
It was 96.
Oh, so I was 1. I was an
yeah.
Look at these guys' faces. This is how I feel when you play this damn game.
I was born in 95, but I was born in like the later end year of 95, so I have a late birthday. So
okay,
like,
that's.
So the school year.
Well, I mean, you got to pass for all that. So you're saying you're a big Adam Sandler fan?
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
Adam Sandler, I unfortunately watched a lot of Dane Cook growing up.
That's normal.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't apologize
early
for your age
he was
group.
Hella
that's
popular.
Absolutely appropriate for.
Yeah, he had very, very like edgy humor sort of thing. It's very popular.
He did. Dimitri Martin, I thought was really funny.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Very
I never
humor.
understood him, but it's
super
fine.
deadpan.
He just had puns, and that's my shit.
Yeah. I tried with him, but I just never really. Yeah. But no, that's it. It makes sense that Dane Cook and all those guys, and it's not. I mean, we're not that much older than you to know that.
Yeah, it's only 10 years, baby.
Good job, Johnny. I've been a big fan of John Mulaney, and I'm still.
Yeah. Oh, John Mulaney is.
But I'm just sad about the whole
he's
drug
a young
issue.
Jerry Seinfeld.
And he got divorced.
I'm happy that he got help and seems to be in a.
Thing is, he looks put together. Anyways, I don't want to derail this podcast.
Yeah.
Johnny may have to edit the shit out of this.
Oh, baby's gonna love editing this. It's his favorite thing. He talks about how much he loves editing and how he doesn't hate it at all.
Well, you can't mix up 2 black dudes. That's just, and they're very, very, very famous. And they're very, very, very different.
Are they famous though? Like, are they?
Chris Tucker and Chris Rock, just because they have the same first name?
Wait, is Chris Rock the one that had the TV show? Like everybody hates Chris? Okay.
Yes.
Chris Rock. How do you feel about Dave Chappelle? That's my question.
Oh, you know what's funny? I was just about to bring him up. I literally didn't know who he was when he hosted SNL.
Oh.
Okay.
Johnny was like, "Oh, it's Dave Chappelle." I'm all like, "I don't know who that is."
Like might be the greatest comedian of our era. There's no way she watch Half. You know what we should do?
I think Chris Rock is better than.
I think what we should do is have Dakota on as a guest, and we're gonna give her a movie, and she's gonna guess what the plot is.
No,
Like if I said,
terrible. I wouldn't do.
if I said like
wouldn't be good
Weekend
at
at
that.
Bernie's, what do you think that movie's
Oh
about?
my god.
Bernie Sanders is hosting a Great Gatsby style kickback, and and it's on the
Okay.
weekend.
This is
Would you believe me if I told you it was about a guy who was dead and
No, that's it.
two
That's
of
all
the
you know.
guys that worked for him pretended to, or made like moved his body around to fool everybody else that he was alive.
Did it work?
And they made a sequel that where he had a voodoo curse put on him to where whenever he heard music, he would walk around on his own.
The movie did so well; it had a sequel.
Well, Johnny
Would
showed
you-
me Goodfellas, and there was nothing good about those fellows. So honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. They were not. It's like he showed me wait, he showed me Bad Boys, and they were just awful
The
cops. Like they were just bad at their job. Like they weren't bad boys. They were just bad at their job. I was
So I heard somebody describe Goodfellas as like, oh, just a bunch of white guys that are glorified for doing crime. I'm like, have you fucking seen the end of that movie? Nothing glorious about
I still liked it.
Ray Liotta looking at helicopters.
But they were not good. They were very bad fellows. They did.
Yeah, but they're the Goodfellas. They're
Um,
gabagool.
Can you name the two black guys
No, let's
that's
not.
in Bad Boys, the first one?
Will Smith, and I don't know the other guy. I'll be honest.
Starts with an M.
An M, like as in Mary.
As in Mary.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, Martin
Now,
Lawrence.
you
I was
know,
like, what are you
Martin
guys
Lawrence
talking
was
about?
even a little old for us.
This is the most fun I've had on a podcast.
You know?
I'm not gonna lie. All right, don't let it derail too much.
All right, I'm gonna
this is
pass
so-
it back. It was
this
nice
is so
chatting
good.
with y'all.
Oh, it was so great. Oh, please have her on as a guest. We'll pick
did
some
good.
other topic, but that was so great.
So Chris Tucker and Chris Rock.
Here's the thing: we do want a dissenting opinion, right?
Would you call that a dissenting opinion? That's not a dissenting opinion. It's just like, oh my god, I was too young for that.
So, I guess Bo Burnham Inside was really good. The music was really good. So if you guys had a chance,
check
that out.
I really want to see that. I really
same.
have heard some good things.
I've been meaning to actually watch it, and I keep on forgetting that it's there. But I will watch it probably on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I probably wouldn't have watched it, but she's all like, "You asked me to watch a movie every other week, so here's one."
Well, I think
I'm like, okay.
any kind of Bo Burnham special that came out, I think it's always there's a lot of thought and process put into that. Which
It
is
is.
always nice.
This one's a little bit different. I think this is like very for COVID times, and it's very relatable. But the music is just spot on. He's the fact that he shot, edited, directed, just wrote all this stuff is just pure class. I am very excited to see if he's going to do work outside of his specials. Like I said, if you guys haven't seen, 8th Grade is a fantastic movie. That's his like actual first feature film, and I just thought it was fantastic. So hopefully he'll start making more feature films.
Oh, that's the one with.
It's a great movie. I thought it was weird because he
yeah.
did so well, almost as if he understood 8th grade angst himself at his age. Like it's so well done. And the casting was great too, because the lead girl there, like she played. I don't know if she's the exact age for 8th grade or whatever, but she did a great job of portraying that kind of awkward growth phase and dealing with new friends.
I can't wait. I can't wait for people to turn on Inside and be like, "Oh yeah, let's laugh."
Have a
then
great
be
time.
like, "Oh."
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of his. I mean, I think people that are familiar with Bo Burnham know.
Yeah,
like it's gonna something like that. I mean, it's gonna be like half fun, half dark, or whatever. So it is what it is.
For me, what have I been watching? We just got to the penultimate episode of Band of Brothers, so we're gonna probably finish that off either later tonight or tomorrow.
Nice.
Man, that miniseries is like it was filmed yesterday. It's absolutely incredible. I still haven't revisited the Pacific, watched it once and I didn't like it a lot. I wonder if with time I would enjoy it more. But yeah, other than that, revisited some of the Disney live remakes, and we will go into our first topic today, and that is we all watched the latest from Disney live action, and that's Cruella. Now, I had completely. I'm going to start off real quick. I had completely forgotten the Glenn Close 101 Dalmatians.
Really? That's what I
I,
remember all the time.
I mean, I hadn't. I don't think I ever saw that movie or 102 Dalmatians,
I never
but
watched 102, but I remember 101 for sure.
I don't. I love the animated one. Absolutely loved it. But I forgot. I completely forgot that even existed. So when I was reminded of that, I was like, "Oh shit!" Give me your guys's just first take. Give me your first takes of Cruella. Joe, did you like Cruella?
I thought you were gonna ask me about 101 Dalmatians because
No.
I just remember Jeff Daniels in that. That's probably one of the first. Anyways, just sort of overall, I'm gonna give my overall grade as just a B for
Yeah.
the movie. And I really thought about that, and what it was for me, it was like overall good movie. I liked the twist, but it had really random spots of just like I don't like it,
Mm-hmm.
but overall good. So, and I don't know how much in depth you want me to go into, but there's
Just give us your initial take, and then we
yeah,
can
yeah,
go
I
from
think
there.
yeah, I think good. I think overall it's kind of like, you know, 80% of it or 85% of it was very, very good. I liked it. It kept me enthralled. It was very entertaining. Kind of checked off all the marks of what I consider to be a fun movie,
Mm-hmm.
and that's sort of how I feel about it. So a letter grade of B for what I thought. And to be honest, when I first got into it, I didn't think that it'd be that high of a grade. But when I finished it, I was like, all right, that's pretty good. So give it a B.
What about you, Johnny? What'd you think?
It was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the disaster that was Mulan that have like really fatigued me into this movie where I had really low expectations of the movie, but both Emma Stone and Emma Thompson just killed it in this movie. The movie was moving so quickly, like at a rapid pace, but I thought it was pretty fun. Greg Gillespie, who did I, Tanya, directed this movie, and I swear I thought he was like trying to impersonate Martin Scorsese with like this like British punk like music like every scene to kind of push it through like something like Scorsese would do in his movies. But overall, I totally enjoy it. This is, to me, sad or not, this is the upper echelon of the live action remakes that we've seen so far.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing is with this movie is me wrestling with the idea of like, if her name wasn't Cruella, I think this would be, if anything, closer to great than just being good. But the problem is that now I'm wrestling with two ideas of, where we've seen Cruella, whether it's Glenn Close's or just straight off the animated movie. And if I can shut my brain off, but they're doing so much to kind of sometimes tie into those animated movies at times where I'm all like, so is she really evil? Does she have some and I like some of those they play in and out, but this is kind of where the struggle I have to where this is where sometimes where like Joe says is like it's closer to B plus for me simply because I just don't know in the larger context where this movie holds amongst the rest of whatever canon or how I should feel about reflecting on the animated movie.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was a solid B minus B for me. I would say a solid B. Um I I really liked when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I was pretty pumped. I have not seen Emma's. I mean, it's my own fault, but I hadn't seen Emma Stone in a lot of things before, like in a while. I can't remember the last like what was the last big movie she was in? I can't even remember.
It probably is La La Land, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
that's what. Yeah, I think that was the last big thing.
I
And
also
she's
liked her
done
in
work.
Crazy Stupid Love or whatever it is. That's
Yeah,
it.
she that was La La Land was I think the last big thing she did.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
But I was really pumped when I saw this. I was really excited for it. While watching it, like a lot of the music, Johnny, you brought that up. It was a little too on the nose for me at times. I think that if we never hear Sympathy for the Devil again, it'll be too soon.
Always, and
Like, come on.
it's like clockwork. I'm like, 70s?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
London?
it's
Okay.
like
Cue it up.
shit. It's like like I get why they did it, but also I think to me it was just a little too on the nose, and a couple moments where I was just like rolling my eyes. It did. I mean, it's really honestly, this movie made me want to watch Devil Wears Prada because I fucking
Oh.
love Devil Wears Prada, and I mean honestly one of my favorite films. But I also I was questioning. I'm like, they never really showed us why she wants to kill dogs. Like
Oh,
it's a lot of those small things, and
yeah,
I
it's little
it's
small things.
noted all of them.
I do
like
like the illusion of it that where they just the Baroness just spouted it out and she just kind of eat it up, and you're just questioning whether or not she would do it or not. I think that's kind of where my
yeah,
conflict is because you're trying to play in the gray area when really from everything that we've seen so far, she is pure evil. So where does that kind of switch happen? But I would have been okay if that's where they played it. But the fact that they start using other stuff from like the animated movies or tie into the other live action to where it's like I don't know which direction you kind of want to go with this, right? Either you make it as a standalone and that you're kind of separating yourself from the other iterations before, but they kind of tie in too much for me to like separate it from my brain.
Cruella DeVille is probably my second favorite Disney villain, only behind Ursula. I love
You
Ursula.
just like Ursula? Okay.
Fuck yeah. No, she's great. I love her voice. I love how just fucking body she like BAUDY she is, like
Okay. Yeah.
really just like
I mean, she's
she
like an octopus,
hams
right?
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she's sinister. She's got the voice. She's got the look. All of that. It comes to like I'm a big Ursula fan. Number two is Cruella because she's so campy. She's got the big fur. She's got the cigarette holder. She's just absurd. And, you know, it looked like in the trailer they were really trying to capture that, but I don't know if they got all the way there in my mind. It was enjoyable. But you know what I'm saying? Like it was, I think they could have went even more kind of like towards that Cruella from the movie. Cause like, if you remember the animated version, that's low key one of my favorites. It's great. The music, all of that stuff. It's got a really good kind of feel to it.
I'm just wondering, do you think a origin, because this is basically an origin story, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you need an origin story for
No,
a eventually evil person, right?
no, you don't need an origin story for anything, but
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, that's kind of the culture we're in.
Yeah, but
I didn't need to fucking see an origin story for Boba Fett, but I fucking got one and it was terrible.
I don't know. I just for me, I like I said before, it was like a lot of like lot of weird spots, and it's not one of those things where I don't actively try to watch a movie and try to find its flaws like cinema sins or anything. I just if it comes, if I notice it, I feel like it'll be a lot more obvious to an average viewer. Like for example, like at the beginning where you have like when she was a kid and she's hanging out with the other younger thief kids. I gotta say that if a child actor is bad, like it's fucking terrible.
Joe, you bring up such a good point because bad child actors are bad.
Like it's
It
both
like
ways. Yeah, you can be really really good or fucking terrible. And I'm not trying to shit on the kid because I feel bad doing that, but there's like almost nothing in between. It's like extremes. You have incredibly good child actors and just awful.
honestly, I think the best child actors, you don't really notice them
Because they're acting
being
like a normal
good.
kid,
Yeah,
right?
you
That's the
know,
point.
like,
Yeah,
well, the Stranger Things kids in the first season,
they all acted like normal kids.
they were great. They had that like Stephen King kind of like great feel to them, you know.
Right, right.
And they weren't overly annoying, like, because if any one of those kids was bad, like, it'd be like, fuck, this is insufferable. You know, like,
Yeah, and I don't know. So that's my first sort of thing. But then that's not really on the story per se. I very much like the whole thievery origins of Cruella. I think that was cool. But like when I was watching, I feel like the music selection was pretty good, and then as I was watching it, I feel like it was a bit too much. Almost as if they have an entire playlist just playing back to back to back with no pause in between. I thought that was kind of
yeah.
odd.
Mm-hmm.
And as if they're trying really hard to find the song with the lyrics that exactly capture the current moment. Like you don't have to have for every single one. And I was really confused about the timeline. Like when when was this when was this in play? Is this like the 70s or 80s London the whole time? If so,
Yeah.
why did I see a 2010 Range Rover in one of the scenes?
Oh,
Um,
then that must have been an accident and someone didn't catch it.
Yeah, so because I was watching it, I'm like, this because when she first snuck into that first, the ball, not the ball, like the fashion show, it was like a Baroque period fashion show, like they're doing an old school fashion show, and blah 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 blah, and she grows up, and she says 10 years later, so I'm like, okay, a decade has passed,
Mhm.
no one's using cell phones,
Mhm.
all these cars look really old, and suddenly I see people with earpieces as security guards and also with these futuristic cars. I don't know. There's some sort of inconsistency there, and I was like, what? And then like the rock show at the end. Since when did this guy play guitar? Like came out of nowhere, and now they have
Yeah.
a rock show, and I'm just like build up the character a little bit. So, I mean, those are really minute things relative to the whole movie because I'm really talking about just 10 seconds here, 10 seconds here, sort of thing, and but
I
I liked it
think,
overall.
I think, the issue, I don't even know if I would say issue. Um, who was clamoring for this? Who is this movie for? Is it for us?
Oh, the
It's
target demographic? I have no idea.
to
Is
sell
it
new merchandise.
for, yeah, I
Get some new
guess.
clothes out there. I think it's funny. I forgot who I heard it from, but if we're going, if Disney was gonna, or let's say if people have a reckoning of giving feminist retellings of stories, Disney's going to be like, we're going to do it ourselves. And I think this is just a lot of capitalization that comes a part of it.
Boy, they still have not done that well. They still don't know have a firm grasp. They've never done. I don't think they've ever done an LGBTQ character correctly.
They
I
will
don't think
once
they've
it becomes profitable, I think. Like
good.
really put enough
Yeah,
money into it.
like
But it's not.
it,
Sad to say.
yeah, and that's God, Joe. That's such a good point because it's not. They don't have to do it. It's not imperative for them, so they can just half-ass it. And I'm gonna go back to the Rise of the Skywalker. Do you remember before we saw that movie? It was like, oh, there's like a kiss scene between two,
Oh yeah, like
um,
two girls or something or two
two,
Yeah.
whatever.
two,
But it was very brief.
two characters, two gay characters. It's gonna be great. Blah 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 blah.
If you blinked
And
it, you
then
would have missed it.
I was like, I was absolutely like, are you fucking kidding me? That's it. Like it was like a peck, and I I was like, how, this is insane.
But is the demand there?
I
I'm
think there
guessing
is.
not enough
But
to a point where it would be, something
Well,
that they would.
See, I don't think anyone's asking for a main character. I think if the characters are done well and not half-assed, like I think that's all people are asking for. Not I don't trust them to do a main character who's LGBTQ right now. I don't trust them to do it. But I would I would like them to do those characters not half-assed to where we're just going like, are you like what the fuck? Like it's almost an insult when they do it half-assed and not all the way and still include, because it's like, see, we did it, and it's like, come on, guys.
It's hard, right? It's hard to do it right.
I don't
But
think it is.
but is it? Yeah, I
I
don't
don't,
think
I
it
don't, I don't
is.
think it is because it's just natural storytelling. The problem is
Yes.
is that they, if we're sticking with like I was saying about like feminist things, right? Like the problem is that now they're picking, rather than creating new characters and telling a story, you're picking characters out of your canon. The problem with that is that, and this is why I said I wrestle with this, is because in 101 Dalmatians, both the animated and the Glenn Close one, there's no redeeming qualities from Cruella de Vil, right?
Zero.
Zero,
She wants to murder a bunch of puppies.
right? And so when we go into this movie, like you have to be, if you're
You're not.
going to do like an anti hero type of story, you have to delineate yourself from what we've seen before. You can use tidbits here and there to recall, but you can't. But they were trying to have their cake and eat it too, right? That's kind of what they were trying to do, and that's sometimes the hardest thing to wrestle, is because especially, I mean, if you guys seen it, end credits, like, did you guys stay for the rest of the end credits and saw the?
No.
Oh
Oh,
God, there's end credits.
like mid credits, right? You didn't
Oh,
stay
I
past
didn't
the mid
see it.
credits.
You can just tell me.
Okay,
No.
That's fine.
so spoilers, everyone. So the mid credits is like, Cruella gives the two Dalmatians to two different people. One is the
Okay.
lawyer. One is
Yeah.
to her journalist
School.
friend.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer that got fired, he starts singing the song that we all know from the animated movie about
Yeah.
Cruella de Vil. And so
God,
but that's where my problem is
that's
because
so
like
annoying, because that's not where he comes up with that song.
right, and you're like trying to kind of tie these things together while you're not trying to, and that's always the
Yeah.
hard part. I just think with this movie, outside of, like I said, sometimes they overplay the music, but the costume design sets in this movie were like really good. I was like, oh shit, like there's like a lot of visual flair that I didn't think was gonna happen with this movie. And then having both Emma Stone and Emma Thompson going against one another was actually really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
the one thing that I was really disappointed about is that I love Mark Strong. Mark Strong is one of my favorite character actors. You know, if you guys know who he is, his biggest role is probably being Merlin in the Kingsman movies.
Yeah.
All he was there was to explain the plot. I'm like, God damn it, man. Like, give this man something else to do.
I read a story recently that about his botched Bond villain audition was due to him getting drunk the night before with Daniel Craig. And I'm like,
Uh,
God damn it. Like, he would have made the perfect Bond villain.
he would have. I guess it's a gift and a curse because probably without it, he probably wouldn't be in Kingsman, and I think he works better working with Kingsman than anything else. So, but man, Daniel Craig against Mark Strong,
Yeah, give
that
me
would have
that
been
all
good.
day.
That was so
Like,
good.
but also, like, he had some heavy hitter. I loved Javier Bardem. Someday we're gonna talk about, we're gonna rank the Daniel Craig Bond movies, because that'll be a fun episode. But yeah, it might sound like we're kind of nitpicking this and not enjoying it as much, but I mean, it was enjoyable, absolutely watchable. I mean, it's nowhere near how bad some of these live actions were. Like, holy shit, what are some of the worst ones? Are shit, what?
The second Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, I would say even the first Alice in Wonderland, pretty bad.
That's true.
Mulan, absolutely
Mulan.
terrible. But we're going forward, so there's going to be some more live actions already in the pipeline. We have just give me what you guys think about these. We got The Little Mermaid coming up. We got Pinocchio. We got Peter Pan and Wendy, Snow White, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Robin Hood, Hercules, Bambi, and Oliver Twist. There's some more. James and the Giant Peach. There's one about Tinkerbell, Sword in the Stone. I think, tell you what, I think if they have a good Sword in the Stone movie, I've been wondering. I asked my friend on Discord the other day, why the fuck don't we have any good King Arthur, Knights of the Round movies? Why? How is that not a thing?
How would the live action version of that? I don't know. I feel like there's some downfalls there. And if they had a good animated one, I think it'll work well. I just
They do. I mean, they do.
they
Like
do.
they.
It's great.
So Joe, did you watch the Harry Potter movies, right?
Yes.
You're telling me you wouldn't want to see a live action version of Sword in the Stone where Merlin and I forgot the witch's name off the top of my head go at like and do like their magic duel, or like it could be so fun.
I I always found Sword in the Stone to be a serious goofy movie, like
Yeah,
a serious slash goofy, because I remember the Merlin like making that song and like having his entire house fit into his bag,
yeah,
and I remember the obviously pulling of the Sword of the Stone and all that sort of thing. I very much enjoyed the how that was animated, like that kind of animation. I guess it might be hand drawn back then or whatever it was.
yeah. Absolutely was.
I loved it. Obviously it's for in terms of efficiency that's not done anymore, but I always thought that was very cool. In terms of movies that are coming out, I don't know. I think Hercules could be really cool. Maybe just because I very much enjoyed the original Hercules. But I think the lot of if they learn from Mulan, the big thing with a lot of these movies that are remakes, and assuming that the target audience is us, like people between the ages of 25 to 35 or whatever, that enjoyed the movies as they were kids per se, is that you have to very much maintain l- big portions of the movie and try to keep it consistent and add something fresh. And it's challenging. But for example, for Mulan, you cannot take away Mushu, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
Unless China tells you to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to get into all that politics stuff because that's there, and that's a shit show to begin with. But just from a pure consumer perspective, because Mulan was again a serious slash funny movie because the entire comedic relief was Eddie Murphy, right? Being Mushu, and I thought that was hilarious. And yeah, there's the other guys and the music and all that. So and they try to go a different direction, and it completely flopped. And I think a lot of these studio execs, what they understand is how their wallet is hit. So if they can understand from this saying, hey, we screwed up, and these are the obvious reasons why, and maybe because of China, whatever. The next movie, let's say if you did Hercules, try to keep it the same as best you can. One example I can give is Sonic. If you guys remember that live action Sonic movie, when it first came out, people were like,
the,
"Bro, what
the
the
eyes and the
fuck?
teeth.
Yeah, what the fuck is this?" And then the audience, and then the studio, and then they went back. All right, we'll fix it. And then people were like, "Okay, that's a little bit better." So I mean, the movie was still kind of whatever, but it wouldn't have been an absolute train wreck. So with these ones that are coming out, I would say try to maintain the essence of what made that movie a classic movie. Try to keep the songs, try to keep the story relatively the same. Like there's stuff you can mess with, but don't change like a funny, goofy movie into a completely serious movie. I don't think it works. So that's how I
Yeah.
feel about the movies that are coming out.
I am very trepidatious about Hercules because I love that movie so much.
That's the thing, right? You don't want it to get ruined of
I
a movie that
think
you like.
I think what the live action movies are trying to do is replace the songs in the original ones with licensed music, and I don't think, and it's not the same.
I think it's a complete cash grab. Like that's
On
all it
on
is
whose part?
on Disney's part.
Oh
Because
yeah, the movies. Oh, for sure, that's a cash grab. But
yeah,
like,
because
I'm speaking like what made the original one so good was
the
their
music.
the music,
Yep.
and you can't just we'll put Sympathy for the Devil and it'll be like super cute and on the nose, and it's like, guys, like, come on, like, what the fuck, like,
I mean,
that's
Disney also owns the rights to all of this music. I have to assume, right?
no, God no,
No.
they don't.
Uh-uh.
So
No,
a lot of these sung by
They're
for
owned
the
by
movies.
most of them are owned by Alan Menken, to be honest with
yeah,
you. Yeah, so you got to talk to that
Well,
guy.
you know how the artists you typically get screwed by the company. Go, all right, we'll pay you millions of dollars, but we own rights to your intellectual property. You know, unless it's not the. I feel like Disney
Well,
wouldn't
yeah.
have messed
So
them.
so
You
that's
know,
why it's a little bit different with some of these movies, right? I think when we think of Hercules, that's why there's like so many different Hercules movies because it is a um shoot, I forgot what the term is.
public domain.
Public domain, right? But they can't tell the Hercules story that is told from Disney's point of view because they're specific in that. That's why you have like 4 different Hercules movies, but you haven't seen one that was like the
no,
96 or 98, right?
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
So I get where you guys are coming from. I think it has, for us, it'll always be better or worse. We're always going to compare it to what we've seen. Now, if their target audience is to have them grow up with it, like how for some reason a lot of younger people love the first prequel Star Wars movies. That's kind of the
It hit
trajectory that what that is,
it
right?
hits that certain age, you
Age,
know.
yeah. And so that's what I think these movies are aiming to do. I think if they improve it up enough or like update it enough with or without the music, I'm kind of okay with, as long as, like I said, storytelling is very big to me. So as long as you can tell a good story, we're fine. We're
Yeah,
good with that.
I'm not saying they can't use licensed music and all that stuff. I'm saying that they're trying to use it instead of the original songs
Correct.
and all that stuff, but just be a little better, like be a little more creative about it.
Yeah. So from the movies that you were listing, Hercules I think would be interesting. Sword in the
Hmm.
Stone is
Yeah.
interesting. But out of all the ones, I am very excited for Pinocchio only for 2 reasons. One,
Pinocchio. Okay.
Tom Hanks is going to be in it, and 2, Robert
Robert
Zemeckis is directing
Zemeckis.
it. That is the only reasons why. Because even if they were going to do live action, some type of thing, I know Zemeckis will try some off the wall new digital shit that he'll do, and we'll see where it goes from there.
And
But I'm very excited to kind of see that.
what was the last Robert Zemeckis joint that you loved? That like was like a banger.
That I love.
That like was like really good.
Flight. That was the last one, and I think a
Yeah.
lot of it was more because of
Fuck.
Denzel Washington than anything else.
9 years ago, right?
Yeah, because I mean, I understood what he was
Are
trying to
you
do with the walk, but
not a big fan of Welcome to Marwen?
oh man, oh I was so but that's the thing about Zemeckis is that his visual eye sometimes overtake what his storytelling can be, and I Welcome to Marwen was like visually cool, but like the story itself, I'm just like,
Wild.
bro, come on, man.
Yeah.
like that's kind of the love and hate I have for Zemeckis because I'm very excited to see what it is. But like Flight was the last movie where it was like a very human story like that got me into it. A lot of it is just more the visual flair, but I think having Tom Hanks reunite with Zemeckis lends me to believe that it'll be a more human element than anything else.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. What do we think Tom Hanks plays Geppetto?
I have to assume that's his role,
Nah, he's
right?
gonna play Pinocchio.
He's gonna play Pinocchio.
I want him to play that evil fox guy at the land of the island of the misfit. No, not no, the what was it called? Where they
Fox
go
and the Cat, right?
where they go to the where all the kids are sent off to, and he turns into a donkey.
Oh, I forgot what it's called. I mean,
Pinocchio was never
playing
one of my
like,
favorites.
I mean, yeah, I feel like this type of update, we'll see kind of where it goes. I mean, Tom Hanks can, if he doesn't play Geppetto, he's probably going to play the cricket, Jiminy.
Oh,
You
you're
know,
right. I totally
because
forgot.
he could be the conscience. That's
Yeah.
kind of either
That
or.
I would pay millions of dollars that I don't have for Tom Hanks to be my conscience.
He'll never steer you wrong.
He better not tell me to buy a bunch of typewriters. All right, we're gonna move on to our top 5 now. This is our top 5 favorite remakes of Disney Disney live action remakes, I should say. I think I think our top of the list is gonna be pretty similar. But I think the bottom part of our list is gonna be a little bit of a crapshoot. Johnny, do you want to start it off, kick this one off for us? With your number 5?
I'll start off from 5 to 3. They can kind of be interchangeable. I think my top 2 that's where the lineage of the list is. But at 5, I'll put Beauty and the Beast there. It was a fine movie. It was competently made. I think the biggest saving grace for that movie was having Luke Evans play Gaston. Like, he was really good as Gaston in the movie. Emma Watson, was Belle. She was fine. I think Dan Stevens, he did well as Beast. I think the problem with that is just like the CGI itself just kind of overtakes whatever he's trying to do, which is act more like a 5-year-old, which I thought was a very cool interpretation of how the Beast would kind of do. The new songs, they were kind of hit and miss that came along with it. But I mean, I do love when, Beauty and the Beast, the song came on and they had their first dance. It still was really cool to kind of see what the live action would look like. But yeah, Beauty and the Beast, I have at number 5.
Nice. Good choice. Joe, you are next, sir. What is your number 5?
I haven't watched that many of the remakes, so
Yeah.
I've only seen 5. Not really thinking about it, but if I just had to reorganize them, I'm really thinking about it. I have to put Maleficent at number 5.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Again, they're pretty close. I mean, the ones I watched are very much enjoyable, and I think that I don't really have problems if a bunch of these are swapped and stuff. I
What
thought,
did you like about Maleficent? Because I was bored to tears while
well,
watching it.
it was. I mean, I don't know. I think Angelina Jolie playing a villain of that type and knowing the story of Maleficent, because again, I sort of like the original story of Maleficent.
Yeah.
And the story told was sort of on par for what it's supposed to be. That's sort of what it is. I mean, you know keep in mind, I have a pretty low bar for a lot of these things because I know they're remakes, and I always go in with lower expectations, and if it beats those expectations, I think it's fine. So, as boring as that sounds, I'm like, oh, Maleficent, it was fine. Because everything else above it's like, oh, okay, I enjoyed it more, like, objectively more than the others. So that's sort of why I have F5. I completely understand what a lot of people say is really boring. But it is what it is. So there's my number 5.
Cool. All right. My number 5, same as Johnny's. Beauty and the Beast was completely passable, completely just fine when I watched it. There were a couple things that I sorely missed while watching that movie, and I mean, God, Jerry Orbach as the original Lumiere. Holy shit! How I watched that. I watched Dirty Dancing recently, and he's the dad in there, and that guy is just so good. Like it led me down like a rabbit hole of him singing and all that stuff on Broadway and everything. And man, that guy is just next level, and he brought such a life to that character. So I miss that kind of stuff from the movie. Like you said, Luke Evans as Gaston was absolutely great. I like Josh Gad's character a lot too. God, what was his? I keep wanting to call him Lumiere. What's his name? It's LeFou. Yeah, it's LeFou.
LeFou.
And do you remember like the big controversy over his character that people were trying to make up? It's like, oh, why do we have to make him gay? Blah 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 blah. Do you remember that?
I remember it, and then
And it was just
just like Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, it's like
Yeah, it's
you
like,
miss it, you blink and you miss it.
fucking kidding me? Like, one, get out of here. Two, like, do you guys have anything better to complain about? Jesus, like,
Yeah.
but I thought it was a perfectly passable movie. I was really worried with how when I originally when going into the movie of how Beast was going to look, about how they were going to do that whole thing, but I think it was fine. Absolutely. Did not it was inoffensive. It was not a Alice in Wonderland. It was
Man,
not a Mulan. It wasn't,
And I get what you're saying about Lumiere, because I love Ewan McGregor, but I felt like he
yeah.
was the one that was really miscast into that.
Yeah, he doesn't have that bravado. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's got swag like that. Like, Ewan McGregor has steez. Like, he's absolutely a suave guy, but he doesn't have that type of umph to him, to be in this role. At least in my mind, I could be. I very well could be.
I mean, might be typecasting. I really thought if Jean Jourdain was Lumiere, it would have been it would have been good, pretty good,
Yeah.
right? I'm all like,
Yeah.
but like you say, you might be a little too on the nose at that point.
Just a quick note, I really, about my top ones, I mean, this is just for my personal list, I was going to put Pete's Dragon on there, but I decided not to because the original was a live action, so I thought it wouldn't count. Pete's Dragon, the original, and the remake, really good, really, really good. I definitely give that a recommendation to watch. Johnny, we're on to your number 4. Do it up.
Number 4 is the movie we were all just talking about. It is Cruella. I like I said, I think this movie is part of the upper echelon of what they have done so far. Like I said, it's bookended by two really good performances from Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. Like I said, the stuff that we wrestle with, that's on me, but it's just a really fun, fast paced movie. As long as I don't think too much about the damn 101 Dalmatians lore, pretty fun to have.
Huh. All right. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I haven't. You know, it was. Yeah.
I have no
Go ahead.
reaction to that. It's just it is what it is. I mean, I pretty much have to agree. So
Yeah, like, what do you like? Not really much to say about that. Joe, your number
man,
4.
yeah, we're just probably hitting that spot. I mean, I had my number 4 is still Cruella. I thought it was better than some of the movies I've watched. I enjoyed the movie. I've always had problems with it, but I don't think it'd be one of the best remakes. But for all the reasons we said prior to this, which is this just reasons to my number 4. So that's all I got for number 4, Corolla.
Nice. My number 4 is kind of I guess you could say, a weird one, but I really, really, really enjoyed Christopher Robin. I thought it was like, I'm
This
not a huge Winnie the Pooh fan, but damn, if this movie was absolutely delightful. It was so cute, and it was a really nice time. It's one of those movies that was like, just fuck, like, this is heartwarming. When I first saw Hugh McGregor, I was like, oh shit. But as soon as Pooh on the trailer came up with that voice, I was like, yep, I'm in. Done. Take my money.
I
Um
have fond memories of this movie, but for the wrong reasons.
oh
So
no.
no, it's not anything weird. I was interviewing in New York a couple years back because this came out what 2017 maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and I booked my hotel till the like just like very poorly, such that after the interview I had nowhere to go for about 6 hours until my flight. So I was like, okay, I'll go watch a movie because this is still when the movie pass was still a thing. So I was like, I can watch a ton of movies.
Oh man, what a
And this was
glorious
like on
time.
a Wednesday afternoon in New York City. This is before COVID, obviously. And I was like, all right, Christopher Robin, I'll check it out. And I was actually really exhausted. And it was a hot day, and also it was air conditioned in the movie theater.
Hell
It had
yeah.
those nice reclining seats, and I definitely fell asleep through the whole movie. I did watch it again, and you were right; it is very heartwarming. But that's sort of what my memory is every time I hear about that movie. So I thought that was interesting. But
Yeah.
uh,
That- and that's, I love that kind of stuff. Like when a movie will just rewatching a movie will just kind of transport you back to a place or time. That's why I love watching these so much. So,
Man,
um
Ewan McGregor in 2 live action remakes.
yeah, right? I
God,
wouldn't be
this
surprised if they tap him for another one. Like I could see him in God, what role could he play in a future one? He could be he a voice in James and the Giant Peach. He could be, I could see him cashing in again for sure. Quick for the Sword and the Stone remake. Who do we want to play Merlin?
Jean-Luc Picard.
Fuck, I would give me that right
Patrick
now
Stewart.
to have Patrick Stewart.
Um, Thing is, you want a guy that I mean, here's the thing: does Patrick Stewart look good in a giant beard, right?
Why not?
Because he had some, because he looks really good clean shaven. It's just I don't know. Um, he I know that like the older guy that played Dumbledore, not the first one, but the one before the original one.
Yeah,
I
yeah, Richard Harris.
Yeah, I wish it was him. Anyone else I can really think of?
I mean, of course, you're thinking of Ian McKellen. I mean, that's the
yeah,
first thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I
All
The
mean,
right,
minute
yeah,
you mentioned Picard, I'm like, so you don't want
yeah,
the other
I
guy?
mean, come on,
you don't want you don't
shit.
want Magneto?
Again, I'm only thinking of do I can I picture this dude in a massive beard that like reaches to the floor sort of thing. But I don't know. I think it'll be cool if they did it right. I think it'll be one of the much better ones if it was done right because I very much enjoy the story.
All right, so Johnny, we're on to your number 3 right now.
I shocked some people on this, but like I
Ooh.
said, these are kind of interchangeable. But I have Maleficent at number 3.
Okay.
There you
And
go.
so I'm not saying I love Maleficent, but it was one of the times where I think doing the Wicked style of storytelling for her actually made sense at this point. And they kind of made up the beats really well, where she is much more misunderstood than she is evil, and it kind of worked as we kind of went through the story along. And it, you know, Angelina Jolie, she just had this new movie out, which was okay, but since then this is kind of like her last really big role. She hasn't been doing a lot of movies, and she's kind of like the last big Hollywood actress star that's out there that still was doing these movies, and she just grounded that performance really well. I I don't know. I visually liked how the movie was going. I liked the storytelling. I think a lot of people just remember when her horns were or wings were kind of like
Hmm.
stolen, and you know that shit is a little bit heartbreaking to kind of have her kind of have that realization and then have that mistrust. And I think building from that scene and going continuing the movie actually worked in its favor. So for me, it's at number 3 is Maleficent.
All right. Like I said, I was bored to tears of that movie. I was just kind of like, oh god, like what is happening? Um, Joe, your number 3.
My number three is I don't think it's in anyone's list. It's 101 Dalmatians. Um, and it's weird because I think I just have very high nostalgia.
Yeah.
Uh, what do you call it? Rose-colored lenses or whatever it is. Looking back,
Yeah.
whatever the case is. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Jeff Daniels. I think Glenn Close did a good job. I think it I mean, it's hard for me to say it necessarily aged well, just because a lot of things are, don't age well and etc. But I thought the premise was insane. 101 Dalmatians, um, and the fact that they got so many dogs in the movie, and the fact that I don't know, it had a happy ending. And I remember when I watched it was definitely on VHS when I watched it. I remember when I watching it, it's like, it feels good. I think I watched it definitely more than once, and that alone might limit test saying is a good movie for me. So 101 Dalmatians for number 3.
Speaking of VHS, I I still don't understand the obsession with VHS and like going back to that format
Oh, that is the
of
dumbest thing I've
like
heard. People are
I'm
trying to
all
go back.
about physical media. I think I'm a big proponent of physical media. Have your media on hand. It can't change. Have it in your collection. All my physical media is out. It it's a represent, I watch everything on streaming, don't get me wrong, but if I want to see a certain thing, or someone comes over and it's like, oh, you enjoy this movie, like it's kind of it's like a bookshelf. It's a representation of what I like and all that stuff. So I just don't understand
Maybe some sort of art aspect of
going
it,
going back to VHS. It
No.
looks like shit. I
like
just
like you mean the case, right? The case for the
no,
VHS.
not even the case. I mean the actual quality of the movie, like you put it in, and
Oh,
the
it's
whole
awful. It's
yeah.
awful.
Oh my god, the tracking. Oh, ugh, the worst. I know someone just bought. Who was it? Somebody I know just bought a DVD slash
VHS.
VHS combo, or like a Blu-ray
Those
VHS
combo.
combo. I'm like, the fuck are you doing? Get out of here with that.
Look, nostalgia is good at times, but
Oh
there's
yeah,
time to let shit go,
yeah.
and movies were meant to be seen as clearly as the person that was filming it. So VHS ain't it, you guys. I understand vinyl. It makes sense. I do not understand this love for VHS. Will they have the same love for DVD? Of course not, because
No.
DVD was at 480p. And then when you realize that, oh, Blu-ray can get to 720 to 1080, you're like, no shit. Then why are we clamoring? Like, I'm okay with the collection of VHS. Just don't tell me that you're watching it.
Yeah, also, people are way into the tape deck scene now. I'm just like, get the fuck out of here, okay? If I have to, I will never ever once want to put a pencil into a little thing and
Crank it.
turn it
I have been
to get
told
that tape
that
back in.
it's gonna be based on kids these days or
Yeah.
whatever. They're like the whole like retro '90s is a big style thing for them. So if that's true,
Yeah.
then the VHS would fall right into place. So maybe that. I have no clue.
I believe we're on my number 3 now. And it is Cruella. I mean, it wasn't amazing. I liked it a lot, and I thought it was better than the rest of a lot of these garbage ass movies that they made. Like, I'm looking at the list of all the ones that they've ever like. God, some of these are just awful. Like like Johnny, you brought it up. The second Alice in Wonderland, what a train wreck. Dumbo, not great. God, like just absolutely, how do you fuck these up that bad? Kind of bad.
That's what I mean when I hear this lineup of movies coming out. Track record isn't that great.
Yeah, and it kind of it scares me that some of these favorites are going to be like, oh god. All right, next one. We're in our top 2 right now. Johnny, give me your number 2, sir.
Like I was saying earlier, my top 2 it's a very separate list from 3 to 5. So this movie is number 2. I just thought technical masterpiece from John Favreau, having a kid act amongst 4 walls of green screen and understanding how the animals work without actually ever visually seeing them. I'm talking about the Jungle Book. I think the Jungle Book is one of the best, if not, it's one of the best representations of how to redo a live action movie while keeping the essence of what the original animated film did. It was fun. It was light. You got really committed voice actors that came in to lend their likeness. Like Idris Elba as Khan is like really good. You got Ben Kingsley.
Yeah,
You got
Bill Murray.
Scarlett Johansson, Bill Murray, Christopher Walken. And I'm still absolutely amazed at what he did with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of just the visual format. The kid's name, and I am not going to be able to pronounce his name correctly, but he did a fantastic job in the movie. So, yes, this is my number 2, The Jungle Book.
Great choice. I'll speak more on that later. Joe, what's your number 2?
Number 2 is Aladdin. I remember when I was watching this movie, I always thought that Will Smith filling the role of Genie is kind of big shoes to fill, and making a live action of something like that seems difficult. And the way they got around it was obviously he had like human forms, rather than him being Genie all the time, and obviously the humor or type of comedy that Will Smith has compared to Robin Williams is just different. And I was a little bit concerned, if the adaptation will be good or bad. But I think overall, you know, they kept most of the music fine. They, maintained some sort of the playful atmosphere most of the time. They kept Apu, right? Imagine if you got rid of the monkey. Like, what the hell, man? So don't, like, this is why Mulan sucked. Like, don't get rid of a main character. So, I mean,
So Apu is a main
I think
character.
so. I mean, it's just enough screen time. I don't know. But I thought that the casting was done well. I think you know they stuck to the story well enough that I wasn't like bored in any length of period. So I know I don't think a lot of people. I think a lot of people for good reason dislike the movie, and I think it's because they're like, oh, it's not Robin Williams and all that stuff. But
I mean, yeah, that was big shoes to fill. What did you think of
Will Smith being
Will
the
Smith?
genie. Um, I thought that he brought his own brand of comedy, which is what I expected, and I think they adapted that as well as they can. I'm trying to think off the top of my head if there would have been a better cast for the genie, and I mean it's hard to say. Just because the thing of Robin Williams is like it's just like wholesome comedy, wholesome. That's what I think when I think of Robin Williams. So it's difficult, right?
You think
So
wholesome comedy?
just in terms of him. Well, okay, I'm not. I'm talking
Wild.
about him in the
that
movies,
is that is wild.
not stand up. Come on, they're
I
like
mean,
almost.
Mrs. Doubtfire is pretty wild as well. I mean, I'm just
It's
saying.
like those. Who's the dad from Full House?
Oh yeah, Bob
Oh,
Saget.
Bob Saget.
But I mean that's night and day, right? So he can sequester his I guess who he is. I mean I don't know. Anyways, the point is I liked the movie. I thought it was better than most, and that's why it's my number 2.
Not to go on another tangent, but like you watch Mrs. Doubtfire these days, and you're like when you watch it when you were a kid, and you're like, oh, haha, that
Haha,
dad's so
funny
funny,
lady,
haha.
pine face.
And
It's
then I'm
creepy as hell.
like,
Yeah, it's fucked
one,
up.
no, that he was a terrible father. He brought fucking animals into the house.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
be pissed too. I'd fucking divorce his ass too.
Yeah,
You
that,
know,
that I was gonna
go
say
ahead.
that movie is like rewatching it now. Like Sally Field had every single right
At
to divorce her.
100%.
And number 2, Pierce Bronson was a pretty good like boyfriend, like to those kids,
Suave.
man. He's like, but during the '90s, the word stepfather, mother, and anything
Dude,
is
yeah.
considered bad, right? But you watch it now and be like, wait, James Bond wasn't a dick to these kids.
No.
This is being nice. It's just Robin Williams was insecure and Mrs. Doubtfire, right? So it's amazing how that movie has, the comedy is still fine. It's just like how I view the rest of the characters. I'm like, there's some justification in all this, you guys. It made so much sense.
I
Well, I
ride with
mean,
Sally Field in that movie so hard.
Yeah.
it makes sense because of like it shows growth. I mean, it's a good thing because it's you grow up and people are sad about growing up. So one example that I got was if you guys all familiar with SpongeBob. As a kid, you're like, SpongeBob, and you grow up, you're like, man, Squidward. I relate to him because SpongeBob's a giant piece of shit sometimes. But the whole point of the movie is like, oh, he's a fun character and stuff. So, um, like sometimes you relate to Squidward. You're
God.
like, because SpongeBob just busts in at sometimes like this son of a bitch. I'm sleeping, you know, and so I think again the movie was meant directed towards kids and I always try to keep that in mind when I'm watching a movie. If I watch a movie that's clearly not direct, for example, if I watch like 50 Shades of Grey, I'm not necessarily gonna give it a
Get the
bad
fuck out
like.
of here.
I'm just saying I'm not gonna give it a bad like grade just because I'm not this target audience. That's just what I'm trying to say. So,
So what we found out from this tangent is that Joe's
yeah.
a big Squidward and 50 Shades of Grey fan. The Venn diagram is a fucking circle.
Circle is complete. But I
But
mean,
yeah, I just
did you guys like Miss? There's are there sequels to Mrs. Doubtfire?
no, I can't even tell you.
No.
You don't think?
If there is, I'm not seeking it out.
No, that's not. I don't seek out the original one. I don't have fond memories of the first one. But anyway, are we? We're on to my number 2, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
My number 2. Boy, my number 2 and number 1 were really interchangeable. Right now, I'm still debating to switch them, but as of right now, my number 2 is Cinderella. On any given day, it could have been number 1. It is by far one of the best live adaptations they've done. It is so like refreshing and good when it came out in 2015, and I just wish all of the rest of them were this good. Holy shit, it's not that hard. Like, Cate Blanchett was really, really good in this movie. Kenneth Branagh, fucking, like, isn't it okay? Is it just me, or whenever you see directed by Kenneth Branagh, it's either like, ooh, and then afterward you see it, you're like, oh fuck, Kenneth Branagh.
Hoity-toity Shakespearean director right there, man.
Like, I don't. It's probably just me, but I watch it. I'll go into a movie and it's, oh fuck, it's Kenneth Branagh. Shit, that was like he directed the first Thor, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, fuck, I don't know about this. And then afterwards, I'm like, damn, why doesn't Kenneth Branagh direct more shit? And it's like, I really enjoyed Cinderella. It was fantastic. I think that they needed to use that template more. It was an update of the original while still sticking to its roots. It was a good story. Like you said, Johnny, it's not, it shouldn't be this hard, but story is what matters for these things. It's not everything else that they're trying to cram into it. Give me a good story and go from there. Johnny, you're number 2. Or you're number 1. Sorry. Numero uno. You're number 1.
My number 1 is Cinderella.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. There's a couple reasons. One, it, like you said, it took the best parts of the animated movie
Mm-hmm.
and updated it, right? Cinderella doesn't seem like some hapless woman, the girl that just happened to fall upon it, right? She actually, there's some like backbone to her as they kind of develop her. Lady Tremaine played excellently by Cate Blanchett. Like, you feel some empathy towards her of what it is, but she's still evil, right? And they kind of combine these things as they go. Kenneth Branagh, when it comes to the first Thor, maybe going through that Shakespeare type of route might not have worked, but for this, worked fantastically, right? Like, it demanded that type of care. It feels very timeless. Like, I can pop this movie in 10, 15 years from now, and it still would kind of tell the same story. Also, Jungle Book would be a movie where I would show both the animated and the live action. This is the only movie that the live action remakes have done where I can bypass the animated movie. I know some people will miss the talking mouses, things like that, but to me, I can bypass it and just show them the live action movie. This is how great I think this movie is. And this is why when I saw that movie, I'm like, okay, there's hope. I believe that the rest of these live action movies will hit it out of the park like this one, because if Kenneth Branagh can understand what to do with the source material that they have and build upon it, I would believe these guys can do it too. And obviously they have not. And that's what's really disappointing. And that's what makes this movie stand out way more than the rest of that's on my list. So Cinderella is my number 1.
That's a really good point. When I saw this, I was like, oh, cool, they got the formula. Fuck yeah, they're going to do it. And then fucking Lion King came out. And then fucking Aladdin came out. And like all this shit. It's like, come on, guys.
Was that movie incredibly profitable? It absolutely
Uh,
was. Okay.
yeah.
That's what I was wondering. If it's incredibly like profitable, bro, like you got it right the first time. Just do it again.
And I will say this on the front end because I am not a woman. But if I had a daughter, I would think this is the type of movie that she can watch that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel like a message is being pushed to me, that all these things organically seem like they're happening rather than like trying to hit home a message, right? But I could be wrong. But I feel like, and I remember this, like, because I was sitting in the theater because I was watching it with Chloe, person like I usually go watch movies with, and there was like a sea of like kids there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember how happy they were leaving that theater. And I'm all like, okay, so it works on both levels because I'm leaving out of here happy too watching this movie. But you guys, you obviously like what's happening that's on screen. So, but yeah, I like you were saying, I thought this was the movie when it came. I was like, all right, we learned from Alice in Wonderland. That wasn't working. This is it. And then we peaked a little bit, with Jungle Book, but then it kind of just like either was okay or kind of faltered as we kept moving through the years.
Good call. Joe, what is your number one?
Before I say the number one, quick comment on Cinderella. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, watch it. Let us know
Which
what you
is
think.
the only reason I have great faith on your ability to judge movies, but I have to say one of two things that bothers me.
Mhm.
I don't think a glass shoe is a good idea because if
Yes.
you
Yes,
cut
I'm
your
here for this.
foot
I mean, it can't be good for
there,
your Achilles, right?
yeah.
It can't
Also,
be good for your planters.
yeah, I don't think it's very good in terms
The
of like
arch support.
shock or anything. This lady was running down the stairs in double heeled glass.
I
Give
mean,
Anyways,
me,
I know it's
Lily
magic and
James,
all that.
give me
Lily James
all
is
of
pretty good.
this.
And then the second thing was, you're telling me this woman had a unique shoe size, so unique that
It
it
had to be
only.
because it's glass. Think
But
about it. That goes back to your first point.
yeah,
If
I
if someone else is gonna try to shove their foot in there, it's gonna shatter.
no, I get it. But you did the whole kingdom, and this foot is the only foot that fits. Come on. But that being said, it's a magical movie, so that's
I mean,
um.
we
Yep.
can ask
I
Al Bundy about that. See if
yeah,
all the exercises are
true.
the same.
No, he would just shit on everyone. Um, my number one is Jungle Book.
Mhm.
I really liked this movie. I really liked. I think the casting was done really well. By the way, John Favreau,
Favreau.
I'm sorry, Favreau. After doing Iron Man, becoming a director and producer, that's amazing. This guy does everything. This guy does freaking everything, and he does it well. I'm a big fan of Bill Murray, big fan of Idris Elba, Ben Kingsley, um, and I think again overall just a solid movie. Okay, so I'm not nitpicking anything, but I still like when Christopher Walken sang the song in the movie, and I thought that
He was King Louis, correct?
Mhm.
he was the big boy,
Mhm.
and it was just because like because he sings "I Want to Be Like You," and you remember the original, and Christopher Walken sings it his own way, and I was like, wow, this is like I didn't think this could work, but it did, and I was like bopping my head to it, and I thought it was really fun, and that just sort of added to like sort of cherry on top of how how much I like this movie. So, and you guys had it on your list as well. So, anyone that's listening, and if you haven't watched Jungle Book or Cinderella for that matter, highly recommend. I think you'll very much enjoy it. And I think you will leave the movie happy, just like those kids. So that's my number one.
My number one is also Jungle Book. I loved the feeling of it. It was lighthearted, and also how they changed up the story a little bit. I love the voice actors. I think it made an effective use of stars. It wasn't stunt casting. It was a lot of really fun moments. It was, I don't know, like you guys said it all. Like John Favreau is the golden boy for Disney, and I don't understand why they don't give him more stuff. Like I know he's the head of the Mandalorian, but I really think he deserves to be pretty high up in that company right now. You know, like Kevin Feige really owes a lot to that guy with what he did with Iron Man, with just literally being responsible for the success of that MCU with that Iron Man movie. And I don't. I'm trying to think of most of his movies have been really good. I really enjoy. Chef was really good. All that stuff. Jungle Book is my favorite Disney animated movie. So I was really worried about seeing it, and to have this be at number one kind of tells you how I feel about it and how they didn't mess it up. You know, I was happy they kind of went in a different direction, because if they did a 1-to-1, I'd be like there's no way they could live up to it.
Man, since you mentioned Chef, every time I watch that movie or see parts of it, I get really hungry.
Hey, do you watch the Chef show on Netflix? The one that the TV show he made about it?
Yes,
It's
but
so good.
I haven't watched all of it, but it makes me hungry every time. It's just like I can't believe I can't have this food. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell,
Finally
man?
made the pasta that he
Wonderful.
did.
It's
Like
wonderful.
How'd it
last
come
couple-
out? You mean
it's
the
pretty
one
good.
that
Heartburn
yeah.
Express, but it's so good.
I was like, did I put too much butter? I'm like, nah, that's
Nah, it's
you
impossible.
That's
never,
Impossible.
never
never
enough.
put too much butter.
But speaking of John Favreau and his directing, I have side tangents. Like, have you seen Cowboys and Aliens?
I have with
Let's
Daniel Craig.
You know, that was
it was
there.
really out there. I'm like, whoa,
It was fun.
that's really about it.
I mean, each director has to have a miss once in a while.
know. Yeah, we
I
can't all be
mean,
perfect.
You know, you're always trying as a director. You're always trying to do new things. And you're trying to expand out. You can't play safe every time, right? It doesn't.
God, look at
define you
this
as a
cast,
director.
man.
Could have been so good. I just don't.
He had Craig Ford, Olivia Wilde, Sam Rockwell, Paul Dano. What happened?
It's the script. The premise of it was just kind of shaky to begin with.
Real weird.
You know, that's all it is. You can have the greatest actors.
Oh,
and
you're
the
right.
greatest cast.
I see the screenplay. Lindelof. No, I'm good.
Yeah,
man.
you're just
Now,
like
Damon Lindelof. Okay, here's the thing about Damon Lindelof. He's great, but it's got to be like his own stuff. You know, like The Leftovers. I will ride for The Leftovers. What else? Lost.
He just
Amazing.
can't end things. He knows how to set everything up.
Watch The Leftovers.
Hold up.
And then come back to me on that.
You said Lost. You watched all of Lost.
Yeah, I fucking love Lost. Get out of here.
And how do you feel about? I'm not criticizing it anyway. How do you feel about the way it ended?
I'm totally fine with the way it ended.
Okay.
People that say, "Oh, they were dead all along." No, they weren't. I can explain it to you.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll release a 3-hour podcast on this feed about, my diatribe on Lost and everything like that, because I was in it. I was week to week, like going, "Oh, this fucking, oh my god," theories and stuff.
I've only seen like the first season of The Leftovers, so I can
it's so
probably
good,
go
Johnny.
back. I will say, I mean, I make fun of him, but he did give me Watchmen like last year. So and Watchmen was really good. So
you mean the movie?
No, I'm talking about
the series.
The series.
Okay,
Absolutely amazing. He was the showrunner. So when he did that, that's fine, because
absolutely amazing.
His movie track record in terms of screenplays, like Cowboys and Aliens, Prometheus, which I don't blame him entirely for Prometheus. Star Trek Into Darkness.
I like Prometheus.
Yeah, the first Star Trek was good.
Yeah, I like.
It's
Star
the second
Trek
one.
Is that the one? Is that the one where they played the rock music and did the wave ride?
No, that's the third one.
Oh god, what was the second one?
That was the Simon Pegg written one.
The second one was the
with Khan.
Benedict Cumberbatch. I'm better at you at everything. Yeah. By the way, are they making another Star Wars at all? Or is that Star Wars?
Star Wars or Star Trek?
I'm sorry, Star Trek. Sorry.
I mean, if I had it my way,
they have it on the streaming service. So Picard, I think, is supposed to.
Well, not that, like, with
an actual like movie with the actual real timeline. I don't know. Let's talk to Quentin Tarantino.
Oh God, that's the one movie I want. But
I want.
I don't want a movie. I don't want a movie. I want a fucking series. I don't want fucking CBS All Access bullshit. Give me a series that I can be like, yeah. Give me fucking Deep Space Nine again. Give
that
me
stuff
all
holds up
of
real
that.
good.
It holds up remarkably well.
Just as long as you fix the, you update the CGI, like the
I don't even care. I don't even care.
It's because like a theme through all this is because it's just storytelling, and it's just human stories that they tell. You just related with,
It's
Alien creatures.
what's really interesting about the first season of Deep Space Nine is it's terrible because they didn't know how to write a Star Trek series where they weren't adventuring places. They didn't know how to write a Star Trek series that was took place on a stationary space station. And if you think about it, TNG and original series were going places and encountering new things. Deep Space Nine, they were stationary. They had to deal with problems there. Deep Space Nine had the best captain. Yes, I said best captain because Captain Sisko is way better than Captain Picard. 2, it had the fucking Bajoran Cardassian conflict. And 3, it had the best villain that Star Trek ever saw in Gul Dukat. Come at me.
Okay,
I,
so
yeah, okay, sure.
so
I don't know enough to
I caught
fight you on that.
I caught Voyager. Voyager is the first one I actually watched before
Oh,
anything.
man.
So I started at Voyager, then Deep Space Nine. So I caught TNG like really late. Let me tell you something, man. The
So
first
good.
2 seasons of TNG were kind of like I was about to stop watching it until like the
Riker grows his beard.
like I'm just like I was like it's so hard for me to watch, and then the whole Borg episode when they finally first encounter, I'm like, oh, okay. Now it gets, and then everything from there on out has been like pure gold. But like
TNG was my first encounter with Star Trek altogether. So
Good, because the original series is terrible.
that's why
That-
they're the only ones that are getting movies because they need to fix some of that stuff.
Jesus.
That being
Right?
said, again off topic, I'll try to keep it short. Have you guys seen the Black Mirror Star Trek episode?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh
Not yet.
man,
I
it
don't know.
is. John, it's one episode, man. It's like 35, 40 minutes. You spent like 3/4 of your time watching a screen. Give me a little bit here, man. Come on.
I love Black Mirror and that episode.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Well, we should do a Black Mirror episode at some point. I'm sure
Yes,
we will.
please make
And then-
Johnny
but
watch
we
it.
al-
He
and
hates
then-
this shit. I don't know why.
And then we should also do a Twilight Zone episode, but that's me just being
Okay.
crazy.
Well, I mean, you can. I mean, just as long as you pick a good one. I'm down for it.
Um,
Black Mirror, Johnny. Black Mirror.
There's so many movies I gotta watch though.
Oh,
All
fuck
right,
you, man.
guys, we're going to
You gotta
wrap it
watch
up
out for
here.
shit.
Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. We're going to get some plugs in right now, starting with Joe.
Hey guys, we would love to hear your feedback. We would love to just let us know what you think about Cruella whenever you end up watching it. Let us know what you think. Let us know if we're right. Let us know if we're wrong. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Film Lovers GTTG, exactly the way it sounds, exactly the way it's spelled. So please send us questions. Please send us comments. Let us know and give us ideas. If you think the Black Mirror idea is a good one, or if you think something else is good, let us know, and we will definitely consider it.
All right, Johnny, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at jno11, JNGO11. Try to talk about movies. Actually, the last one tweet that I had was replying to a guy that was saying rank the 4 animated studios between Pixar and Walt Disney, Studio Ghibli, and DreamWorks. I apologize, DreamWorks. You just have not done enough work to even compete with the other 3 studios. But yeah, you could do that. I'm also, you can hear me tweet about me rewatching 2001 pay-per-views of WWF right now.
Hell yeah.
Man, it's pretty fun. Like I was saying earlier, and Jared liked it. I was like, I can't remember a time when I heard Kurt Angle's theme music and no one said you suck. Like wild times back then, man.
I recommend that you go see some clips of him in after WWE when he went into TNA and why he was called Perk Angle, because he was so high on Percocet that he just didn't look like himself in it. I'm glad that he's still alive. I'm glad that he had a final run. I'm very glad that Kurt Angle is an example of the greatest wrestler that was not originally a wrestler ever. Like he was the best he picked up the business faster than anybody ever has, and it's remarkable when you see that Attitude Era run. Speaking of the pro wrestling, pro graps, you can find me at JLUTHY on the Twitter machine, where I tweet about pro wrestling, I tweet about movies, and I tweet about other stuff I'm listening to, like the Olivia Rodrigo album, which is really good. And my students
Interesting.
today laughed at me. I teach high school kids. They laughed at me because I brought it up, and they're like,
She
"Oh my
got
God, you
popular
listen to
real
that?"
fast. She got popular real
See,
fast.
Very good.
CD is very like. I mean, I know the one song people are saying sounds like Paramore, but it really does have those type of vibes. I'm just saying, whoever broke up with her, you really broke her heart,
You
dude.
fucked up, bro.
You fucked up. Like this isn't. It's close to like Adele 21 type of like ether that she's spewing, but like you messed up, dude.
Yeah, you fucked up. So, all right, guys, thank you for listening. That's it for us. Galaxy Brains, have a good one. See you next time.